you, hope you're well. My name is Nikki DeForest, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, where we explore all things spiritual. In celebration of all of the beautiful new subscribers and this beautiful new community that we're building, in this video, I'm sharing my own spiritual path, which, before we get started, is still continuing. So things are evolving. But first, I'd like to say that each one of our spiritual paths, each one of our spiritual awakenings is entirely unique and as diverse as we are. No two paths will be alike. There are stages that are a pretty clear pattern, but the timing and the themes and the lessons and the growth, all of it will be entirely unique to our needs and the needs of our soul in its awakening process. So let's start the story in 2016. I was unconscious, miserable. I felt stuck in a career that I didn't enjoy anymore. I was in accounting and finance, and for about half the year, I was working 70 hours a week. I had no time for myself. I had no energy. I burned out. It was awful, and I was ready to find something new. I hired a career coach to help me find what's next. I did learn from that coach as we worked on envisioning exercises, envisioning my future, and talking about what my path could be. I learned that I knew nothing about myself. By giving all my energy to the work or the office and giving it away to family and giving my energy away to everyone else, I gave my power away. I gave everything away. I knew nothing about myself. I didn't know what I liked to do. I didn't have any hobbies. I didn't have any interests. I had nothing in my life was about enjoyment at that point. So by learning that from my coach, I was able to move forward. I did find another job, better work-life balance. I started exploring my own interests, what I like to do, yoga, meditation, astrology. And then we had a leadership change at work, and I fell back into old patterns. I was working a ton of hours again, 17 hours a day sometimes, and I got miserable again. And I was reminded, yeah, we were looking for a new career. That old path doesn't serve anymore. A friend of mine, I was just getting into astrology, and a friend of mine said, have your natal chart done. It's all in there. And so I hired an astrologer that was really familiar to her and I was comfortable with. And it was life-changing. We went through my whole chart. It focused on career because I was looking for a new career and I had nothing else going for me at the time. Truly, I didn't want to talk about relationships. I didn't want to talk personal life, nothing. Career. Tell me what my career is supposed to be. I walked out of there with two good pieces of advice. He said, trust the universe and write. Trust the universe and write. Trust and write. It became a mantra for me. And as time went on, trust became a huge theme in my spiritual awakening. But let's not jump forward yet. So I still didn't have a real solid idea of the kind of work that I wanted to do. So I called my coach again, and just in the next couple of days, she was going to have a workshop. She was hosting a workshop for women looking for their new career. Thank you, Spirit, for the beautiful synchronicity. I took the workshop and I watched her work again. We had worked one-on-one in 2016. Now in 2019, we were working in a group. I watched her work and I loved it. I resonated with being a coach. That was autumn of 2019. Okay, I want to be a coach. In January of 2020, I began taking courses to become a coach. I took courses at Coactive Training Institute, and I really thought I was learning to become a coach, but I learned something so much better. I learned about emotional intelligence. They taught us that emotions are energy in motion. They taught us to experience our most challenging and difficult emotions, just to be with them, process them, let them come up, experience them, and let them go. Energy has to flow. In hindsight, I now know that that was the beginning of my shadow work. I worked through a lot of emotions in training. We would break off into small groups or in one-on-ones, and we'd work through emotions and talk about things. It was the beginning of my shadow work, and I didn't know it at the time, though. I just thought I was becoming like way more emotionally intelligent, and of course I was, but it was shadow work. I graduated and opened my coaching business in July of 2020, and remembering what the astrologer said, I started writing a blog. I started writing a blog about personal growth and emotions, shadow work, and I started writing. I trusted the path and I started writing. I worked with clients. I then I still had a lot of time on my hands. So let's see. It's autumn of 2020. We're all in lockdown. No one can get out. So I started taking online courses. I'm sure a lot of us did. I started taking online courses. The first online course I took was a mindful meditation course with Tara Brach and Jack Kornfield and at soundstrue.com. And I loved it. I loved it. I was deepening my meditation practice. I was learning from Tara Brach and her RAI and her RAIN process of connecting inwards and discovering our shadow. Doing shadow work again. I took the one course, loved it, took the next series of courses, loved it. And I really, really got into meditation. I understood that I was doing inner work. I wrote my blog. I wrote articles that were published at elephantjournal.com. I was in a good place. After taking the courses, the mindfulness courses, I then took another course with Eckhart Tolle. It was a course about being the light, expanding. No, I'm going to read it from my notes just because it's the title tells everything about it. It's called Being the Light, an Inner Journey to Accelerate Conscious Evolution in Times of Crisis. It was COVID, and we did a lot of meditation, and he shared his wisdom. And we had Steve Taylor, a brilliant writer, poet, brain, human. He shared his wisdom. And it wasn't long after that course ended that I started experiencing something I had never experienced before. Everything got kind of quiet. Like, I don't know. Everything got quiet. And then I was confused. So I started Googling, and, into my awareness came a video about spiritual awakening. That was the Christina Lopes video about the 6 stages of awakening. And from that video, I learned that I was experiencing a dark night of the soul, and I learned that I was experiencing a spiritual awakening. As I was learning about spiritual awakening, I decided I wanted to share more with my clients or offer more in my coaching business. So I started meditation teacher training at Radiance Sutras meditation teacher training. I'm sorry, I am Radiance Sutras meditation teacher training. So what I'm trying to say, I started training to become a meditation teacher. I thought I could share it with my clients and And of course, it was not going to hurt me any at all. It deepened my appreciation of meditation. It deepened my appreciation of community. And I was learning, again, I was getting more in touch with myself as well. Meditation, especially the Radiance Sutras, they're very sensual and they're very, I don't know, it was a delicious class. I really enjoyed myself. About halfway through that class, March 16th, 2021, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Obviously life-changing. And everything changed, of course. I continued, sorry, I continued taking the meditation teacher training, but I paused my clients. I completed the clients or paused them. And then every ounce of my energy that I had, other than meditation teacher training, went into my healthcare, self-care, and this new journey that I was on. I call it my breast cancer journey. I called it the biggest self-care project of my life. And you can tell by the theme of the story so far that getting in touch with myself and shifting from spending all my energy on other people to spending the energy on me, it's a huge theme of my life. It was a huge theme in my spiritual awakening. Everything I had learned up until that point went into healing from cancer. I vowed that I was going to listen to my doctor's advice and follow the treatment plan. And I was going to use all my skills, everything I had learned, my mindfulness, the meditation. I worked with crystals. I was going to use all of that I could spiritually. Oh, and energy healing. I was going to combine the best of both worlds. I had Western medicine, great. I became connected with the cancer center. I received the best care. And I could do what I knew to do on the spiritual side: mindfulness, meditation, crystal work, energy healing. I had the best of both worlds. My awakening did pause. It paused right around the time of surgery. I can't remember if it was before surgery or after surgery, but it paused. Again, things got quiet. I guess you could consider it a dark night of the soul. I was integrating everything I had learned. I was integrating it to the point where I could use it in my daily life. I was quiet, was focused on myself. And even though I was medicated, amputated, radiated, vaccinated, I experienced all these things. My spiritual awakening continued. So I just want to put that out there. Remember, I was experiencing career changes, spiritual awakening, breast cancer, pandemic, all at the same time. Please don't judge my path. I was doing the best that I could. A couple of months after my spiritual awakening had paused, I was healing. I was healing and going to a lot of physical therapy and getting ready and prepared for radiation therapy. My spiritual awakening began again as energies came to me. I could feel the energies. It was a beautiful buzz. And then the energy went into my hands and I was playing with the energy and I was being intuitively guided to move with the energy, open the energy big and step into the energy. I think I was channeling, but I didn't know that at the time. I was just trusting and feeling with the energy and learning about it. And Spirit made it fun and play, and it was beautiful. But of course, when you start to experience, or when I started to experience things like that, I thought, am I going crazy? What is going on with me? But again, I remember what the astrologer said: trust, trust, trust. So I eased into it. I trusted as best as I could. And I allowed these experiences to come to me. As more energy came into my body and filled it up and made it tight, almost unbearable, spirit screamed, release. And I learned how to also release energies. There's only so much energy our body can carry. And so that was when I learned to release. And I'm in my 50s, so I have carried with me a lot of trauma of neglect, of not just my parents, but of myself. I was neglected my whole life. I had a lot of trauma built up in my body. Releasing the energy has been a huge part of my awakening, and that's why I share those videos now. Spirit guided me step by step, and I learned through school, through the channels. I was learning all sorts of how to develop my clairsenses, or how to use them as they developed. I don't know how some of this works, but Spirit was guiding me every step of the way, holding my hand as we stepped through these processes. And then I really felt the urge to work again. I had closed my coaching business during cancer, and even though I was still experiencing symptoms of radiation, after my radiation completed, I wanted to share, and I started my YouTube channel. Side note, if you look at my early videos, it looks like I'm wearing one of these little tank tops underneath my tops. At that time, that was not a tank top. My skin was so damaged, I was wearing bandages for the radiation damage or the radiation burns. I really felt called to share. I felt called to work. And so I did it on YouTube, but don't go look at those videos. They're horrible. I have come so far since then. And all this time, I was doing all this spiritual awakening and healing from cancer in hermit mode. At the time of my diagnosis, that was March of 2021, I think it's when the vaccines were just getting rolled out. So it was not safe for me to be with people. And I still, it was all in isolation. I was hermit mode. I was hermit for healing from cancer. I was hermit mode, spiritually awakening, and I was being guided step by spirit. So I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. It was just a unique experience to be completely isolated and experiencing so much. And I think that's why I was called to start making videos, just to share, talk. 2022, my awakening quickened. As we advance through the stages of our awakening, each stage gets faster and faster. And I could feel the gears just kind of like gearing up every time. It's like, oh, more energy. Oh, the energy is stronger. Oh, I'm becoming more accustomed or acclimated to the energy, and I can take on more. So let me explain what a normal kind of day in my life was like in 2022. I would receive lots of synchronicities all day long. I would get countdowns: 155, 255, 355, 455. All day long, it'd count down like that. And I'd be like, okay, something's coming. It would hit 555, and I would start energy work. I would receive downloads. Sometimes I would receive like ear ringing. So those are activations. So I would receive a download, and at some other point, ear ringing would start signaling an activation of some energy that had already been previously downloaded. I would process a ton of shadow work. I would be experiencing psychic events, conversations, relationships, things like that, just situations that Spirit would put me in while channeling. that would help me work through my shadow. I was completely in isolation. I had no one to work out things with. I couldn't see anyone. I couldn't spend time with people. I wasn't allowed, other than being online. I was isolated. So I worked out a lot of the shadow and the karma and all of the lessons I needed to learn with spirit. Oftentimes there be, I say energy work, and I want to be clear when I say any energy work. It can be a combination of downloads, um, activations, releasings, energy work that came into my body. And my body is very involved in my awakening. I shake. To this day, I still receive energy and my body will pulse and shake. Mostly in my core. My core muscles have gotten way stronger since my awakening. It's so wild. So a lot of it was happening in my body, and eventually I learned that that was communication. My angels were communicating with me through synchronicities and setting me up for, oh, here comes another cycle. Oh, 10:10, that cycle's done, moving along. I received all this communication from angels, and then in channels and what I call school, I was working with ascended masters, and we would talk and have conversations, and they would show me experiences, and I would learn and grow through them. And my intuition spoke to me through my body. You'll see it today. I call them twiggles. My body twitches and wiggles in a certain way, and that means that I am activated. I'm connected with my soul. I'm communicating with them. And those are the spirit communicates with me in multiple ways, through songs, through physical synchronicities, numbers, psychic experiences, through my body. It's just been an amazing ride. So much happened for me in 2022 in terms of my awakening that other than going back to see the blogs or read my journals, I kind of lose track about how everything transpired. I mean, if I went through my journals, I could probably set out a timeline. But as new experiences came in, I didn't always, sorry, baby, I didn't always journal about them either, because I was learning, I was integrating, I was understanding, I was in the moment. But that's all that to say is that our awakenings are weaving, they're like energy woven communications and experiences and learning and understanding and clearing shadow, clearing karma. It can all happen at the same time in magical, mysterious ways. I always say it's beautiful, magical, and spiritual. It's just amazing how it happens. And it's because so much of it happened while channeling, I don't always remember the perfect details, although I always receive the learning and understanding I'm supposed to receive. Through it all, Spirit guided me every step of the way. I soon began sexual awakening. Shortly after that, a kundalini awakening occurred. That's still up on my, I think that's still up on my blog. I was experiencing what I called awakenings within awakenings. It was a beautiful, expansive time. I learned so much. I wish I learned so much. I want to share it all. But there are some things I won't share. Like my sexual awakening, I am not ready to share that yet. That is private. I'm very introverted. Believe it or not, I am very introverted and I'm very private. So there are some things that I won't share yet, if ever. Just saying. We also worked on healing my masculine energy. And really there was healing to the masculine, but there was also, boy, Spirit's been working with me on this one for a long time. about being in receiving mode, that feminine energy of softening and receiving. Back in 2016, when I was fully in my masculine and unconscious and miserable, I had a pixie short haircut. Pixie short. That was in my masculine. My masculine even presented on the outside of me. But now, obviously, I'm a little more in my feminine. And you can tell by my hair. And I wonder if that's not in my astrological chart. Anyway, as you may know from a recent video, I also experienced mediumship. I experienced mediumship and it was beautiful and healing. And I talked in a recent video about how it vanished for me. And I believe now that that was for my healing, that I was meant to heal. Again, the healing is multifaceted and multi-layered. It is not as easy and clear-cut as I had mediumship with my dad and I cleared my masculine. No, it wasn't that easy and it wasn't that clear-cut, but it was part of it. Healing from the neglect, healing that karma, those shadow, the broken, wounded part of me that had always felt neglected. That was part of mediumship. Just receiving love from the people in my life who were no longer able to give me love. I learned to receive love in mediumship. So I believe now that that was exactly the purpose of it for me. If it's a gift that comes back, great, but I'm not attached to it. My path has been perfect as it is. I may have already mentioned this, but we definitely did a lot of clearing of karma. I do not have children. My ancestral line does not continue. I believe part of my path is clearing the karma of that ancestral line. And some of it included working on ancestry.com and kind of seeing the path of my ancestors and seeing how hard they worked and how poor they were. And all of it, all of these weird and funny lessons are in service of our path, are in service of our soul awakening. With spirit, we also tested and honed my intuitive gifts because that is a large part of how we communicate with spirit. I receive clairvoyant messages from spirit frequently. Clairaudience comes into play very frequently. They send me songs and music to enhance my lessons, enhance my vibration, or to comfort and soothe me. I recently did a blog post about that. I shared my Sent by Spirit playlist. It's fascinating and eclectic. It was one night late in 2022. I was in one of my baths. I love taking baths. They're great for releasing energy. They're great for when we've already released energy and we are experiencing kind of that, what is called spiritual flu or ascension symptoms. Beautiful for that. I'd like to take long, hot, salty, lavender-filled baths. Candles, the whole shebang. Music, meditation music usually. And I think I overdid it with the plants, you guys. I'm so sorry. I was in my bath, candles around, and there's this one flame, and it was talking to me. And I started talking back. I said, "Hey, who are you?" Kind of like introducing ourselves to each other. I met my soul that night. Her name is Flame because I'm, the candle flame. I call her Flame. She's fiery. She's sassy. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. It was the beginning of me integrating my soul. I love her. I love her so much. I love you. Love her so much. Beautiful, beautiful energy. She's very sassy, and I needed that in my life. Recently, in 2023, what are we, 3 months in? Not even 3 months in yet. I experienced a heart awakening. I wrote about it too, and it's on my blog, so I won't share that much here. I'm going to leave links to everything. You'll be able to find them. I experienced this huge rush of energy into my heart space. Like, I have experienced loads of energy, lots of channels, beautiful experiences and awakenings, and uh, illusions of relationships and mediumship, and all. I've experienced so much energy, and I've never felt anything like what happened in my heart space that night. It was beautiful. And then, did you see that wiggle right there? That's what I'm saying, a twiggle. That's my inner, there you go. That's my inner team. Just kind of, I don't know, joining the conversation, we'll say. So now we've got my beautiful, dear sweetheart, my sassy flame soul, and it's kind of like together now. We're integrating. We are in the process of integration. I feel like, what is that phrase they used to use? I found myself. I found myself. I have come, what, 180 degrees from where I was in 2016. Unconscious, miserable, blaming everybody else for the life that I had manifested. I am now a conscious, aware, intentional human, body, mind, and soul, or should I say heart, mind, and soul. I have learned to love every part of myself. And that includes this body that has been through so much. It was, you can imagine, after breast cancer, after surgery, I have double mastectomy, no reconstruction. I've got nada. I had to love my body again. I had to learn to love my body again. I had to forgive myself and learn to love every single part of me. And I did that through spiritual awakening. My spiritual awakening started as a career change. It continued through breast cancer. And it brought so many amazing experiences and multiple layers of healing and growth and clearing of trauma and releasing of energies and clearing karmic cycles and experiencing so many amazing, beautiful, magical, spiritual experiences. Spirit, in all its forms, has guided, supported, protected, loved all and every part of us all throughout this awakening experience. I truly believe I am one of the luckiest humans in the universe to be able to experience this. It has been, and it continues to be, the most beautiful, magical, spiritual experience. I share this to be of service. I share as I'm guided to share. And we share from our heart and soul. Thank you for being here. I am truly grateful. Until the next time on Exploring Spirituality, I love you. Be well. That was Flame telling me she loves it, and we're good. Cut.